Here we have the ball on this left-hand side. Really Gooner makes an inverted run. Mikel Arteta side, and he's not going to go for goal, is he? Oh my word! With all my, I've never seen that. Number 45
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man. Come on, Ian. Smash the like button. Bring up the dude. He's got what? People deluded, I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and obviously where it applies, wherever you are in this time zone and whatnot, good afternoon and good night and whatnot, people. Now that we've said that, appreciative to you lot tuned in. Big up you lot on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button now. It is the 7th of January, and yes, I am being impatient, and I'm sure you guys are as well. Fundamentally, Arsenal need signings. We still ain't signed no one. It's a madness, you know. But star boy, the senior star boy, Bukayo Saka injured. The newcomer on the block, Ethan Onweri injured. Big up Lewis Skelly, also a star boy. Thank the Lord he's fit. We've got more injuries than we can count. The games are coming thick and fast off the back of a condensed and congested fixture calendar list. And it doesn't get any easier. This is a big week for us, or big 10 days. Tonight, we will be doing a watch-along. We're playing Newcastle, which I hope to God and I know it's not going to be a case, but we score 3-4 goals. We put that to bed, and we can somewhat be comfortable at St. James's Park. On Sunday, we have Manchester United. Next Wednesday, we have Tottenham Hotspur. So it's now time to stand up to be counted. Mikel Arteta's got to find internal solutions. Players that are existing at this club have to stand up to be counted. And those, indirectly, Mikel Arteta, interim manager sporting director, Jason Ato, and everybody else need to sign someone. You know, for me, if Arsenal was in my image and I had the keys, I'd not necessarily in January, but give or take, I'd be eyeing up signing a striker, signing a central midfielder. Even if everybody's fit in our attacking options, we needed two attackers anyways, so a winger. I always say this, but unpopular opinion, if you can find me a somewhat versatile defender, I wouldn't be against it. And we need some long-term options in goal beyond, obviously, David Raya, so second and third choice. The priority in January, with Saka's injury, with Ethan's injury, with us, let's be honest, you know, big up Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli and Trossard, but we're carrying a lot of players. We need to get a winger. Now, ideally, it would be someone that plays on the left with Saka, has to be someone that can contribute on the right-hand side. Now, David Ornstein has spoken in The Athletic about our transfer plans. We've also simultaneously been linked with Jobe Bellingham's younger brother, Jobe, who's decent and very good player in his own right. It's not unfortunate, but unfortunately, when you got the same last name, when you have such an older brother like that, you're always going to be compared. But, you know, Birmingham's academy produces some great talents. They did very well with the Bellingham brothers, and Sunderland will make good profit on not just him, but you look at him, Chris Wigg. There's a couple of players at Sunderland. They're doing quite well in the championship. So yeah, man, don't forget to smash the like button, all of that, people. I'm feeling a bit lonely. Nobody's commented, but it is what it is, people. So why waste your time? Let's crack on in it, really and truly. Let's start here, people. Now, I have to start with the injury crisis, or better yet, the landscape. Ethan Onweri, who played 2 games, you know, before this injury and was quite good against Brighton and superb against Brentford. Mikel Arteta, his manager, has said, unfortunately, he has picked up an injury and is going to be out for a few weeks. It's a muscular injury. He didn't really know. He said, I am feeling something, but I don't really know what it is. Now, as much as we clamor and bang on and bang on and bang on and bang on about young players playing and players playing football, people, and don't get twisted, there has been moments throughout, not even just this season, the backdrop of last season, for Ethan to get minutes. You got to remember it's a big ask physically, because on the scale of things, obviously Ethan has made great progress this season. You know, he's obviously a young player on the cusp of first team. He's got opportunities. He's taking them, look good in the cup, had some exciting cameos, you know, great starts against Brighton and Brentford, showing consistency. But that's games very quickly. And for someone that's at 17, just been exposed to it, physically, it smashed him up. So when we're crying about young players playing, sometimes we need to be easy a bit. He has earned the right to step up and play for us. And now he starts to have some games, some big games, and impact those games, which he's done in different positions as well. So I'm gutted for him. It's going to stop that a little bit, but it's another step in that development phase that he's in. I'm really happy with the way he's going, which is true. Again, unfortunately, injuries for players are like chefs cutting their fingers. It comes with it. And It is what it is in that regards, man. Big up yourself, Sadiq. I've seen we're linked with Lee Kang, and some Arsenal accounts are already hyping up the player. He's good technically. He's a good player, and in terms of being a body, be great. But you know how Arsenal fans are. We get linked with a player, and they might be good, but we get linked with a player, and the ITKs and the big platforms, they start making out there the messiahs and gassing them and all of these things. We need players, man. I don't know if there's any truth to that. We'll get onto that. But David Ornstein spoke about that. But there's, January is a reactive window in itself. Yeah, we want to go for Kudus and Cunha and Ademola Lookman and Nico Williams and all of these guys, Isaac, all of these ones. But you have to put down ridiculous money, and they're not necessarily attainable in the sense that they are valued by their club. Simultaneously, as I said, January is a reactive window. You look at Jorginho, Chelsea wanted to get rid of him. No disrespect to him. Trossard, Brighton wanted to get rid of you. We obviously took advantage of that. Very rarely are there opportunities like that, if it makes sense. So it's easy to link us with a number of those PSG players. Koulibaly, who's been linked with other clubs, he's got one foot out the door. Lee, as you said, he's got one foot out the door. We have been linked with Asensio. Arsenal have shown that we can do business in January, people. Remember when Aubameyang signed? Obviously without context, but we got Aubameyang. We didn't get Mudryk, we didn't get Caicedo, we didn't get Vlahovic, but we're prepared to put big money down. Now, I could be wrong here, but I'm sure even Liverpool, they signed either Van Dijk or Alisson. They signed one of them in January. I could be wrong. I hold my hands up. Again, it's difficult, but it's not impossible. And at the end of the day, we've got no choice. I'd love to wake up and we've signed Kudus, a player with Stardust, but we need somebody that is decent, like somebody that can help us. Because for me, I think it's unsustainable. It's hella unsustainable. You look at the bodies we've got available, the injuries, some are carrying knocks. We've got 3 difficult games in 10 days. We're now coming out of a congested calendar list anyways. We've been dealing with injuries from the start of the season. At least up until tonight, if it goes left, we're still technically in 4 trophies. I think Liverpool are winning the Premier League, but you've got to run it until it's mathematically impossible. Champions League, we'll see what that's got for us. The league and FA Cup, obviously we're in it this week. It's not sustainable to compete for 4 trophies on the best of days if our whole squad is fit. And now you look at the backdrop. We hope to see Saka back as early as February, as pessimistic as April. Benjamin White, obviously, apparently he's back in January. This is all assuming that there's no other injuries. And I'll be honest, there's more injuries than we can count. We can't go back in time. It's all coulda, woulda, shoulda. But everybody here knows what we should have done in the summer. We should have. Even Raheem Sterling's injured. And another one that there might have been opportunities. And let me know you lot's thoughts, yeah. I think Mikel Arteta would have played Ethan, yeah, but had Sterling have been fit, rightly or wrongly, would Ethan have started right wing? Because it does seem like Mikel Arteta does. I don't know how to make it make sense, but there's like a hierarchy. It's not necessarily due to ability and whatnot. He kind of goes through the senior players, if I'm honest. So we'll have to see, man. In the end of the day, for me, it is what it is. I know there's plenty of reasons to be negative. It is what it is, man. Like, it is what it is. We've left ourselves short. We hope every day and every minute and second that's ticking, like we're waffling here, those that are in charge of doing what they need to do in the market are making things happen. Please smash the like button, people. 3 p.m. I've got a video coming out where I kind of offer my extended thoughts on the transfer window. I think you lot will like the first minute of the video, because I've tried a little, poking fun at myself and whatnot. So I'd appreciate if you lot, this video will take you to it. 3 p.m. now, 3 p.m. and obviously 7 p.m. we're Arsenal versus Newcastle. We're trying to start 2025 in the best way. We're trying to get to 70k, man. I failed you lot last year. I'm not failing you lot this year, man. I promise you lot that. Jesus Zertsky swap, is that true? I haven't heard that, and that's an idiot thing, man. Like, that's got to be nonsense. Like, it's got to be nonsense. Yeah, Zertsky's younger and whatnot, but both teams be ripping themselves off. So it gives shades of Alexis Sanchez, Mkhitaryan. Williams has a 48 million release clause. If we're not signing him this January, that means Nico doesn't want to join Arsenal, which is true, but not true. It's true in the sense of, yeah, you're right, but it's also not true in that the man might not want to leave Bilbao. He's made a big song and dance about wanting to finish the season with them. Does he want to leave like a coward mid-season? And I don't think Arsenal's first choice. I think when you've got PSG and Barcelona and all of these teams after you, that's where you're going to go to. But then after that, I do think Arsenal could sell him something. People sit there and say the wages, etc. Fundamentally, Nico Williams is on big wages anyways. Whether he goes to Arsenal, Liverpool, PSG, all of these teams, with the greatest of respect to Bilbao, if you're Nico Williams and you're going to Liverpool, Arsenal, let's just throw in Man United, Chelsea, whatever have you, 4, whatever of the biggest teams in the Premier League, and where PSG are concerned in Europe, you're not taking no wage cut. Obviously, the issue is with the release clauses. You have to pay it in full. I don't know how the accountancy works at Arsenal, because 1 minute there's austerity measures and then the next minute there's actually money. So you'd have to take that out with someone that knows. But the player would want to have to leave. Like, I'm not saying you, but I do think people get into this trap of, oh, just pay the release clause. The player has to want to leave. You're not going to activate the release clause if the player's not on joining you. You're going to get left with egg in your face. One thing I'm not on, though, is this we tried stuff. You can try as much as you want to get Nico, try as much as you want. Try. I have no doubt that the club tried to address all the areas I'm unhappy about in the summer, but did they? It's a results-driven business. I have no doubt when our footballers go out there that they want to win, that Mikel Arteta is putting the best possible tactics and things. But if they don't win, we have question marks. If you lot try in your 9 to 5s, but don't necessarily do a good job, some of you are not feeding your kids. Some of you are not paying your bills. Some of you, unfortunately, myself included, ain't got a roof over our heads. So how far does the we tried stuff? And even this BS about, and I agree with it in a sense of, who we going to get? Who's on the market? Are we really? And again, it's lazy. I ain't got a million names. But with the climate of what we face ourselves, with the lack of options and everything that's at the club right now, right? Was there really not that many options for us to exhaust in the summer that led us to this point? I don't know. I can only deal with what's in front of us. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. We can only apply better foresight moving forward. But it does feel like, as much as there's been external factors, referees, red cards, we have been dealt a harsh hand with injuries. Let's be honest, like, this situation is mad. But these are all possibilities that we've been through before and we know could happen. Did we put our best foot forward? Because after the summer window, you could talk about, purely from a footballing point of view, did the players we brought in, and I like Calafiori, I think Moreno's a good squad player, but did they, if we name our strongest 11, are those players necessarily starters? Did they raise the level? Not necessarily. You could say yes, you could say no. Where you look at the summer, simple question, did we improve the depth? Even last season, we had a clean run with injuries, but you still missed out on Timber. You still missed Tomiyasu and you still missed Partey. And we went into this season thinking, what if Saka's not there? What happens with Ben White? What happens with Odegaard? What if the players aren't scoring? What if Martinelli, Trossard, them and there don't do what they're doing on the left-hand side? What's going on with the left-hand side? What will happen to the right-hand side? What's going on with central midfield? What's going on with the depth? A lot of these things we did not, pardon me, we didn't discover in these 20 games. Or am I wrong? Because I know you lot, you're clearly some of the smartest, content consumers because you're fucking with the guy, but we shot ourselves in the foot. What you're saying here is exactly how I feel. Yes, you get it. Like, it just feels like self-inflicted mistakes, if I'm honest with you. It feels like we self-inflicted our issues, really and truly, man. Are we trying to get them, though? I don't even think the club is. Who knows, man? In the funny world, the club's probably going to sign someone that isn't linked with us. This is why I always say, I'm more than happy to make videos with you lot because it's a privilege to be here, smash the like button and discuss football. But until I see people holding shirts, holding scarves, whether they're lying or not, saying, I grew up watching Thierry Henry and Bergkamp, how far does it go? It's just a dream. It's just hope. Even looking at the Newcastle game today, there probably is going to be some element of rotation. But for Mikel Arteta, how much can you really rotate? Because A, this is probably our most realistic chance of winning a trophy. B, you got to go to St. James's Park. 3, you ain't got enough players to rotate. Unless you see some debuts from some Highlanders or there's a change in formation, you're not like, you can't really rotate. You have no choice. In an ideal world, and if everybody was fit, then you would imagine the Gabriel Jesus, the Raheem Sterling, probably Ethan, Lewis Skelly, these guys would probably start and we'd rest some other legs. But who can we rest? Who can we rest? I would love to rest Saliba and Gabriel, but you could be playing Isaac today. You have to play. And then where you can't look beyond what's in front of you, but you look at Man United, obviously, they had they earned a good point against Liverpool. That's going to galvanize them. They've got a week to prepare for the game. We've got 2 games this week. So the players that are likely to start against United probably have to play today. We're playing Isaac. Saliba and Gabriel have to play for me. Lewis Skelly, Calafiori, whatever you do, is Mikel Arteta going to play Partey right back, or is he going to put, change something and put Lewis Skelly over there or Calafiori over there like he played against PSG? He has to find something. Obviously, Timber comes back into the fore as well. And you're praying there's no more injuries. And obviously, when you have the squad we have with players missing, the players that obviously are playing, you run the risk of running them even more into the ground. So this is what I mean. And for me, the recruitment staff and those above Arteta, this. Mikel Arteta, you're a smart man. Like, you are a smart man. And regardless of you being inexperienced as a manager, you've been here 5 years. It's not as extreme. But in the 2 seasons prior to this year, you've seen what key players missing has done. We gambled. And sometimes 9 times out of 10, when you gamble, the house always wins. So until we want to learn these lessons, we're not going to go to where I and a lot of you would want. You know, realistically, we need a miracle. We need a miracle in the transfer market. We need a miracle in terms of fitness. We need a miracle in that our players stay fit. Need a miracle in that Liverpool continuously drop points. Need a miracle in that we near enough have to be perfect in the Premier League now and all the other comps. For me, I'm always hopeful. I'm always optimistic, but I'm always quite realistic. I look at all of the variables in front of me, the good, the bad, and draw my conclusions. We've got no choice but to fight. I think there's more reasons to be negative than positive. But you see me in my life, I'm the sort of person when my back's against the wall, I'm fighting in it. We're going. I'd rather go out on my feet than die on my knees. In it, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. It's as simple as that, man. Like it is what it is now. Like it is what it is. Like we play silly games. We're winning silly prizes, man. Interest in the players not making a bid or negotiating a deal. There you have it. And this is what I'm saying, Ed. Everybody's interested in everyone. Making bids, dotting I's, crossing T's. These are other things. My bad, bro. We saying my bad to you. What's up, DG? Hope you're good. Compliments of the season. Wishing you a blessed 2025. Right back at you and everyone else. Watermelon_cat. Some of you lot's names are funny, man. Lee, Kang-in, Arsenal. Yes. At this point, I'm not against it, but it's easy to link us with a couple names. Like, obviously, you know, even, do you know what? If I was a journalist, this makes no sense, but Chiesa is not getting any game time at Liverpool. Just in terms of clicks, I'd link Chiesa with a loan to Arsenal. It's easy to link, you know, you could link us to Chiesa. You could link us to a vast majority of those PSG players. We know we're not getting Arda Güler, but you could link us to Arda Güler for different reasons. You can link us to Dani Almo. There's a lot of creative journalism. At the end of the day, when the market closed in the summer, and obviously January and the summer markets are two very different entities. When the market closed, they knew the work that needed to be done. And half of the signings that we're going to see, not just at Arsenal, but half of these clubs in football in the summer, they're talking to these players now. They're dotting I's, they're crossing T's, they're having dinners with agents. So what's going on now? For me, obviously, Edu leaving, interim sporting director, mess in terms of injuries. You know, Arsenal's a bit of a mixed bag because as much as I believe there's more negatives and stuff, on the face of it, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible. It's just all a mixed bag, man. You still think Chiesa has it? For me, I think he's lost his pace. Now, I'm not saying sign Chiesa. I'm just saying it's easy to link. If I was a journalist, he's not playing at Liverpool. Arsenal need an attacker. Arsenal previously had interest. Make an article and tell lies, in it, really and truly. That's all I'm saying. Chiesa, we ain't got time for that. Like, we haven't got time for that. Not that it's ever going to happen, isn't it? We ain't got time for that, man. Would you take Koulibaly from PSG? I'm desperate. I said it yesterday in the live stream. I'm desperate now. I've been having mad thoughts. Recall Fabio Vieira. You know, I've been having mad thoughts. Koulibaly's not the worst. I'm having crazy things. I misread the title as Ornstein Transfer Update. Got afraid for a second as a Liverpool fan. I don't know why you'd be afraid if we signed Ornstein, but big up yourself for tuning in nonetheless, man. Smash the like button, my people. DG, why do people still judge Nico Williams based on the Euros hype? He's been bang average for 3 years. He's literally Martinelli 2.0. I don't quite think he's Martinelli 2.0 because he actually has decision making. Obviously, the Euros was great. I do think he's had some average seasons in and around that, but the man's got ability. I'm having him at Arsenal, and I've never spoken to Mikel Arteta or anyone with the recruitment, but when you look at the Athletic and the credible news journalists, it seems like the club actually like Nico Williams. So go all out for it, but it's a myth. Sterling and Chiesa both not playing. The amount of fans on X who pretend slime they've seen some of these players are hilarious. Everyone's an expert on the internet. It's okay to just say you don't know, innit? So glad all Arsenal fans can really see the whole picture. What I've been seeing since a kid. We've been doing the same stuff for years. And you know what the saddest thing is, yeah? And the scariest thing? There's a reality Arsenal sign no one, you know. I think all us Arsenal fans know that there's a reality where we sign no one. Now, as much as I believe that, a part of me thinks that's not the case purely because it's one thing not being 100% convinced on the player, but bro, like, come on now, look at the playing stuff, look at the injuries. We've got about 2 attackers, 1 max at times on the bench. You surely have to do something. I'm not saying the player is going to be what we want. I'm not saying it's going to be one of these stars. I'm not saying we won't have question marks, but surely you have to act. Surely you have to act. You know, a few years ago, Mikel Arteta spoke about maximizing markets. The gaffer at 2 points, the beginning and the end of 2024, sat there and said, we have one of the smallest squads. What's changed? So if you keep doing the same thing, think about your lives. If you keep having the same negative routine, what is going to change? It's either naivety, incompetence, stupidity, or a bit of everything as to why we find ourselves like this. It's complacency, in my opinion. Because the minute we've got 2 years, probably with this year 3 years in the Champions League, we have the transfer summer we had. We're cool with it. The gaffer's got a new deal before a ball's kicked. I'm not even saying that's necessarily wrong, but that just tells me whatever the KPIs internally and what us as fans want isn't necessarily aligned. Now, for Mikel Arteta and the players, I think you want to win major trophies. I can criticize how you go about it. I'm talking about those above them, the ethos, the company ethos, and whatnot. So it is what it is, man. Like it is what it is. Keep your thoughts coming, people. We're gonna go over these things in a minute. Just enjoying you lot's conversation, man. You lot make the platform what it is. Reality signings would be for me, Marmoush, Kang-in, Lee, Coleman, or Cunha. The Cunha thing, you got to put down the bread. Seems like he's signed a new deal. Marmoush, he's not leaving Frankfurt in January, but go all out for it. Kang-in Lee, there might be some realism behind that because you're not really playing at PSG. They might be happy to do something with us. Coleman, I like Coleman, but the one thing I think of with Kingsley Coleman is injuries, and you apply Arsenal tax definitely at this. We're never going to see Donny. You know, you've got, pardon me, such as our luck. Saka's injured. You know, the senior star boy is injured. The young star boy and Ethan's injured. Raheem Sterling, who was brought in for depth's injured. You know, the virus has continued over to Fulham. You know, a bit of a joke, but, you know, you can't even recall Reece Nelson because he's got his own hamstring injury. It's peak right now, man. It's peak, man. Big up Marcel. Morning, man. I don't look at the league. I don't know if your top man said what's DG waffle about today. Marcel, this is why people think you're a hater, you know. He's not a hater, people. He's part of the family. He's a moderator. But this is why people think you're a hater. Oh, yeah, I need it. They said it's unlikely we sign Williams. I think we all know that, man. We live in hope, but we also live in reality. We're taking too long to sign players. We know our situation. 3 players we need ASAP, forward and 2 link players. I hear you, but for me, just one doesn't really change anything, but let's just start with one. Let's just get one body through the door and then see what's going on. Leroy Sané hasn't signed a new deal with Bayern. Do you think Arteta will try and get him on a free? Could we do a deal in January? I don't know the isms and schisms and all of the minor details around Sané, but if his contract's running up and you find yourself now, like on paper with Trent, Van Dijk, Partey, Salah, Sané, where they've got 6 months left on their deal and they can agree pre-moves elsewhere, you have to consider, there has to, whether you want them to leave or not, there has to be a reality where you consider selling them. Sané, beggars can't be choosers, isn't it, man? Let's get it done, man. We are done here, boys. I really want the Cronkies to go. It's been so long since they took over the club with barely anything to show for it. It's time for something new. Nico Williams wants to stay because the final of the Europa League is in Bilbao and he said to play in that game is his dream before he leaves. He ain't going nowhere. There you have it. Assuming they get there. We make excuses for excuses. Only Arsenal do it. Boy, if we had more depth and more quality, the red cards and referee decisions wouldn't hurt as much. Exactly. And yeah, the refs are pricks. Pardon my French. And they've done us dirty. But in a lot of those games, at worst, we walk away with a lack of a clean sheet. We could have killed the games, man. We could have. And there's been times where we've got away with decisions. And equally, there's been times we just haven't taken points. You know, you can't blame refs for us dropping points at Chelsea away, Liverpool home, not turning up at Bournemouth away, shoddy performance at Newcastle. And I know you can't win them all. There's no excuse. Even the Brighton game, I think it's naive to just say, oh, we won the game, but you take away the penalty. Of course, the penalty had a point to play. You know, but what really did we create? If you look back at that game, Brighton actually had the better half chances in the first half. I think the first half, whether I like the midfield or not, I think the midfield worked. I think the coaching plan worked. Ethan was doing his thing. We obviously got the goal and we was maneuvering, but we didn't create nothing. Gabriel Jesus is nothing to scream and shout about, but you've had Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz up there. Yes, a striker that's better than them can create their own goals. And Isaac, hope we signed him in the summer, would have stayed on side for that Jesus effort, but we're not creating enough. Everybody that watched that Brighton game knew you needed a second or third goal. Now, yes, referee decisions are scandalous, but if you know that the refs treat us harshly or rightly or wrongly, let's control the controllables. Take away that ref incident. I think a draw is the perfect, is a fair result for both teams. I'll be real. Sometimes in football, you win when you deserve to lose. You lose when you deserve to win. You draw when you deserve a bit more. Across the course of a season, you get what you deserve. And I think a draw was on brand. Of course, it doesn't help me because it was one of the rare times you've seen Liverpool F up and you could have drawn somewhat closer. But yeah, man, that's just my thoughts, man. Keep your thoughts coming, man. I'm tired of hearing my own voice, man. Yeah, we ain't got no strikers, man. Yo, DG, should the club spend 150 million on Isaac? In the ideal world, no, we know we're not going to do it, but read into this what you will. It's not my money, man. If you can spend 150 on Isaac, you can barter that down, though, man. You can barter that down, man. It definitely will touch 100, just over 100, but I don't think it has to go as high as 150. But that's a summer thing. And people forget, Newcastle could get Champions League. They're not going to let Isaac go cheaply. The striker market is dead, and they've got gold with him. He's got at least 3-4 years on his deal. You need him to really agitate for a move to go away, and Newcastle to have willingness to sell, man. It is what it is. DG losing his ish slowly. I wouldn't say that, Paul. You know, I feel like a broken record. A lot of these things I've probably said all these years we've been on YouTube. But you're right. This is squarely on the owners. They're just happy with competing for the top 4. I really like the Jobe Bellingham links. He'd be perfect for that left 8 position. I'm having Jobe, and I'm having him because as much as I want stars, yeah, there's talent in the Championship, bro. Like, there's talent. Like, Morgan Rogers was in the Championship up until recently. Look at him. And then there's many others, you know, Eze, Elise, all of these got Bowen at West Ham. Buy players from anywhere. Of course, I want Kudus and Isaac and all these household names, but there's talent everywhere. And like you said, Bellingham's young. He's English. He can play in that left 8. Make it happen, man. Marmoush is heading to City. That's what the reports seem to say. A front 2 of Jesus, Martinelli, and Trossard against Newcastle United and Tottenham. And the Villa, wallahi, were cooked. Flip, you know. If you buy Cunha, you won't solve anything as good as he is. And I agree with that in that. I do think he will solve stuff in that ultimately we've got another attacker, another reliable attacker. Obviously, he can play in the 10. He can play, I'm not really for it, but play as a false 9. He can play off the left. But I agree with you in that. As dumb as it sounds, beyond being a good player and a good attacking player and me being happy, I don't know specifically what you solve. Because are you going to lock down that left-hand side? Are you going to play up front? It's just a good player in the squad, which I'm not against. But I do agree that it doesn't really fix anything. Just bring in anyone. Lee Kang is a baller, mentioned him before. If Lee Kang is not playing for PSG in Liga, I don't understand why we'd sign him. Yes, he might fit our system, but signing him won't give me any confidence until he proves me wrong. And that's all you can hope for with these players. But I would say football's a funny old game of opinions. One man's trash is another man's treasure. And you've seen it several times with several players, man. Saw an Aubameyang video on my timeline, proper striker, bro. I'm not going to lie. I miss Lacazette. This is the sort of stuff we're getting into, man. But yeah, moving away from that, in terms of team news and our landscape at the moment, people, we've gone over what he said about Ethan. In relation to Sterling and Kai Havertz, he said, I hope so, but I don't want to say yes because the last time I said I thought he was going to be fit and he wasn't fit. That's in relation to Kai. In relation to Raheem Sterling, we discussed the situation and the fact we have to use players in positions they probably haven't played in before. We are learning a lot from that. And what I learned especially is the willingness of the team. You speak to any individual and ask him to play anywhere on the field and they say, I'm there. That's great as well to learn from your players. It's a good learning process, not only tactically, but also preparation and training with very few players. Arteta, well, you've been here too long for me to want to hear this, man. I'm not trying to hear this over positive thing. Big up yourself, Gaffer, but this is dead. Like, this is Mighty Ducks. Like, we know that there's the team off behind you. There's galvanization, all of that. We just need players, bro. Today, we had 7 or 8 players with us just to fill the squad, which isn't normal. So that means 7, 8 academy boys had to take part in first team training so that obviously we could run the session. It's a weird way to learn, but I'll take it. I cannot change it. So let's take the things that we can get out of it and be better. Okay. Big up yourself, Gaffer. Make sure, you know, in terms of the Athletic, they've spoken about several players and of several clubs. Obviously, we only care about Arsenal at this moment in time, people. Let me scroll all the way down because I was there, but I decided to scroll up. What happened this week? We can skip past that. We know Ethan's injured. We know Celtic apparently have opened negotiations with Kieran Tierney about a free transfer in the summer. Arsenal declined to take up the additional year on the 27-year-old's contract. So he's able to negotiate a P contract with clubs outside of England. Arsenal have not been approached about a January departure for the Scotsman. The 20-year-old forward Charles Sago Jr. has returned to Arsenal from a loan spell with League One side Shrewsbury Town, but that is unrelated to the current injury crisis. After Sago Jr. made just 5 starts in the first half of the season, Shrewsbury opted to terminate the loan arrangement. What would an opportunity signing look like for Arsenal? We're about to find out, aren't we? Let me finish my coffee before we do this. Smash the like button, folks. Oh, boy, that woke me up. Anyways, if Arsenal are to do business in this January transfer window, it's likely to be one of 2 kinds. The first possibility is that a long-term strategic target becomes feasible. That would include names such as Athletic Club's Nico Williams. Mikel Arteta is a huge admirer of the winger who has a buyout of buyout clause of 58 million euros. The financial aspect of such a deal is daunting. That buyout would need to be paid in full, and Williams would also expect a sizable salary package. For Arsenal to follow through with their interest would potentially require owner intervention. Alternatively, a deal might be identified which Arsenal can pursue without significant financial implications or even long-term commitment. Although Arsenal have used their Premier League quota of 2 loans, they are still able to loan players from abroad. Many eyes are on Dani Almo's curious situation at Barcelona. Currently, they are unable to register the player they signed for 60 million euros last summer. Olmo, however, remains intent on remaining in Catalonia. One name under discussion could be Paris Saint-Germain's South Korean forward Lee Kang-in. The 23-year-old is considering his options at PSG despite playing regularly under Luis Enrique. He's open to a new challenge. PSG are not actively looking to sell, and they value and rate highly both on and off the pitch. So he's playing. They don't necessarily want to sell him. Where does this come from? Do we have admiration in him? Can we make him an offer he can't refuse? I don't know, people. Any deal would need to be at least double the 22 million euros they paid to sign him from Mallorca in 2023. So let's just assume it's as white and black as that, 44 million. If the club are that convinced, fair play. But pardon me, I don't know. Lee, who has scored 6 goals in 16 Liga appearances this season, is well known to Arsenal, but the current price tag is off-putting. So there it is then. Forget it then, unless there's a loan. If, however, PSG were prepared to consider a loan without an option to buy, then Arsenal would be prepared to come to the table. So we have to pay double the 22 odd million. The price is off-putting, but he's a name that's been in discussions. Forget about that. Dead. Forget about that. What have you said here? Dortmund among teams considering to bid for Rashford on loan from Manchester United. That seems like that's the rehab center for United players, man. He's been linked with AC Milan as well. What position/players are they looking at? Understandably, given the loss of Bukayo Saka to hamstring surgery, Arsenal's efforts to strengthen are focused on wide attack. Separately, Arsenal are also looking at a number of younger players who would strengthen their academy sides as well as being future prospects for the first team. Which players could be leaving? As things stand, Arsenal are not actively working to sell any of their first team squad. With such a hectic schedule and with the roster beset by injuries and illness, almost everyone is needed. So what's going on there? Man said Nunes as well, Milan, the rehab. To be fair, Nunes, 60 million, Arsenal, are we that desperate? And that's the only, really and truly, ironically, when Liverpool have shelled out on an attacker, that's the one time they've kind of missed because Gakpo's worked. Jota's had injuries, but he's got quality. Mane was there. You saw what he did. Firmino, you saw what he did. Salah, it's fair to say he done all right for a Chelsea flop, innit? Diaz frustrates, but he's good. Gakpo, he does what he's doing. It's now time for Arteta to spend the back. Because for me, it feels like, Arteta, you've done all the hard work, you know, in building the team on and off the pitch. You've done all the hard work. Now you just need a winger and a striker. Of course, it's not as easy as that. But them two positions identified really make the world of difference. But I mean, a bit disappointed with the article. I don't know what I was hoping for, but we didn't really learn anything. Dani Almo, we knew that that's not happening. The only thing I'd say is that, you know, Lee Kang-in, that's a new name that's kind of been thrown around and maybe we'll be linked with him every day. We know Nico Williams isn't necessarily feasible. It did mention an ownership intervention, hopefully in it, but madness. I still love Nunes. He has attributes, but his brain is small. Do you know what it is with Nunes? Yeah, he must be one of those footballers that drives your manager crazy because them man, yeah, you could play them one game and they win a game all by themselves, and the next they're the worst on the pitch. Like, it's hella frustrating, man. You don't, in a good way. The best and bad thing about the good thing and the worst thing about Darwin Nunes is you don't know what you're gonna get. It's like a random box of sweets. But we ain't learned nothing from this Athletic article, have we, people? I mean, I'm not gonna read this for you lot, but like Aubameyang gave an interview. With David Ornstein, and he opened up, unfortunately, about the robbery and all that stuff that happened in Barcelona. He spoke on his departure from Arsenal. I was just reading that this morning, man. You know, I'm up early trying to get content for you, lot, you know, thinking about little isms and schisms to speak about. So I'd appreciate if you smash the like button. And at 3 p.m, please, man, seriously, people, DG Nation, if you love the guy, man, I put a lot of effort into the video coming at 3 p.m. I'm trying to get to 70k. So just take that in, man, and smash the like button, man. It means a lot. If you've done that already, appreciative. But yeah, moving away from that, there's no way I can pronounce this guy's name. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but yesterday you would have seen Arsenal and Liverpool allegedly are among the clubs to have scouted Feyenoord winger Igor Paxal, 24 in recent times. The player could move this month for around 30 to 35 million euros. However, no talks have taken place and no offers have been made. Are Liverpool only linked with him because Arnslot was previously there? I don't know. Are Arsenal only linked with him because he's a winger? Doesn't seem, based on his numbers, not the most productive. Can play on the left-hand side. He's not the worst. I don't know him religiously. We need wingers. If this is the guy, go and do it, in it really. Moving away from that, apparently Arsenal eyed Jobe Bellingham admit gentleman's agreement. Now, before I read this, I just want to say one thing. How far in business does a gentleman's agreement go? Unless there's I's dotted and T's crossed and cold-hearted writing on a piece of paper, I don't know. But allegedly, and I'm all on this, Arsenal have set their sights on Sunderland's 19-year-old midfield prodigy, Jobe Bellingham, as they plan for a midfield overall in the coming transfer windows. I'm on that because, you look at our midfield. I don't think we're going to, obviously because of the Saka injury, I don't think we're going to sign a midfielder anyways. But you look long-term, you don't know if Partey is going to be here next year. You don't know if Jorginho is going to be here next year. Moreno's going to be here. Rice is going to be here. Of course, on paper, you've got Odegaard who can play in a couple of roles. Ethan who can play in a couple of roles. Lewis Skelly can play over there. But we don't really have those options. And I'm on that, man. Let's make him our very own Morgan Rogers, man. I'm all on this, man. He's cold in his own right. Imagine that, Imagine their dad, both, Jude and Jobe Bellingham's dad. Like, you got two sons as a footballer. You lot can kick your feet up. One's at Madrid. One's going to play for a big team soon. You're making money, man. Anyways, securing a young, dynamic midfielder has become a top priority for manager Mikel Arteta, with uncertainty surrounding Thomas Partey and Jorginho. Partey has yet to commit to a proposed one-year extension with the option of an additional year. Fair enough. While Jorginho is considering transitioning into a culture role at the Emirates at the end of the season. That's something I thought would happen. Two developments first reported by Football Transfers. And there's a lot for Arsenal to do. You'd imagine when Lewis Skelly and Ethan turn 18, the club will try and get them to commit to a 3, 4, 5-year deal. Saka, Saliba, you could say Martinelli, but them two need to deal with those contracts. There's a lot to do. And it made me think the other day, is stability in football a myth? Like, is it a myth? Because there's always something to do when you deep it, man. I don't know Jude's brother enough. Start watching Sunderland. Him, that Chris Riggy, they got quality players. But his dad, his mum's a fan. You're moving mad. Arteta, we signed Bellingham, guys. PR shirt. I was going to be shameless. And you see in the title, it says Jobe Bellingham. I was just going to put Bellingham thoughts because I know people are going to see Bellingham and be like, what? We're not signing the Madrid Bellingham. I was going to do the mind games, man. This club I hate. Damn. Who put these bums, man? We need a top gun, man. Just buy Yokerez. Just sign someone. Kimberly, you're right, man. Lookman is much better. He's Anthony V2, huh? I'm just wondering how impact elite striker and elite winger in our squad. I want an elite striker and an elite winger so bad. You're not alone, man. You're not alone. You're really not alone, man. We'd all want one, man. That's a PR signing, not interested. Nah, I can't lie. I think you're being harsh. I'm telling you, this Bellingham youth's a baller. I don't think we're going to go for him because these lot always got exclusives about what we're doing. I'm not, no shade, but I haven't seen any correlations. I'm not against him. I think there's talent in the Championship. According to sources, Arsenal scouts are closely monitoring Bellingham, who is impressed with his versatility and composure in Sunderland's midfield. It's understood that the Championship club struck a gentleman's agreement. He's been linked with Crystal Palace as well, with the England under-21 international during contract negotiations last summer, allowing him to depart for a Premier League club should a suitable offer arise. So, what have we learned? That just seems like what happens with all footballers, the belly of the beast. Bellingham has steadily built a reputation as one of the most promising young talents in English football. Following the trail blazed by his brother, who is currently starring at Real Madrid, he rose through the ranks at Birmingham City before making the switch to Sunderland, where he's continued to shine. With Arsenal looking to inject fresh energy and long-term options into their midfield, Bellingham's profile and potential could make him an ideal candidate for Mikel Arteta's evolving project. Whether the Gunners will act on their interest remains to be seen, but Bellingham's name is certainly one to watch. So we ain't learned nothing. Bellingham has primarily been a ball-winning midfielder for Sunderland this season, having occupied a more box-to-box role last term. Arteta wants you. You can do bare things. He's gonna do that. He's probably gonna make you a 10. Like, wants Odegaard to win duels, wants Declan Rice to split passes. Of course, I'm being naive with that. He has not exploded onto the scene in the same way that Jude has, although he already has 11 Championship goals for the Black Cats and has won a couple of England under-21 caps. So We'll have to see what's going on over them sides, people. Arsenal and United received shock Gyökeres update. Neither Arsenal nor Man United are expected to sign Gyökeres this year, according to report. The Swede has emerged as one of Europe's, smash the like button and subscribe, people, deadly attackers at Sporting, netting an eye-watering 62 goals in 63 games in the calendar year of 2024. He started off 2025 with a bang too, netting a hat-trick against Victoria Guimarães in a thrilling 4-4 draw. Given his numbers, Gyökeres has been heralded as the most transformative signing in Portuguese football in at least 20 years, and a departure from Lisbon is considered only a matter of time at this point. Although he has 100 million euros release clause, Sporting have agreed to lower their demands to 60 to 70 million euros for the summer to give the 26-year-old the opportunity to get a big move. Premier League giants Arsenal and United have been persistently linked with the Swedish sharpshooter in recent months, but it seems that they will end up disappointed. At least that is according to Sky Germany, which has provided a significant update on Gyökeres' future. For one, he is not planning to leave Sporting in January and will only take his next step in the summer. Additionally, the report states that a host of clubs are naturally interested in the Swede. However, Arsenal are not mentioned among the list of suitors, which appears to confirm that the Gunners will instead pursue Benjamin Sesko, last summer's top target, or Alexander Isak in the next window. Man United, meanwhile, are said to have a concrete interest in Gyökeres, as are Man City and Barcelona. The City really need him, unless Haaland's cutting, or he could be number 2, but really, and they link with Marmoush. Fair enough. They do need fresh blood in an attacking sense. Pep was very critical of Grealish in comparison to Salvino. Despite an acknowledgement that the latter likely won't be able to afford him as things stand, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich are keeping tabs on the situation as well. Unfortunately for United, however, it's claimed they are currently not among the favourites to land the striker. This can, of course, still change between now and the summer, but it seems that the club's descent into football irrelevance paired with the lack of funding will make the signing of an Elite Nine difficult. Never did I think Manchester United would be in the same sentence as that, man. So it is what it is. Arsenal prepare 40 million euros bid for Odegaard backup. Arsenal reportedly interested in signing informed Brentford midfielder Mikkel Damsgaard as they search for adequate backup for Martin Odegaard. I wouldn't be against signing the Danish Don, man, if I'm honest with you. Apparently, he's got 2 goals and 7 assists so far in the top flight. Only Salah and Saka are the only Premier League players to have registered more assists, with Saka with 10, Salah with 12. I don't believe it. And to be honest, Brentford are not going to let him go. And apparently Brentford are demanding 40 million. I don't think he's not worth that, but do Arsenal think he's worth it? I don't know, people. And he's key to them. In addition to Damsgaard, Arsenal also interested in signing a centre forward in January, with Athletic Club superstar Nico Williams, one of their primary targets. Bro, stop going after, man. You're not going to sign. I don't want to hear we tried. Victor Gyökeres, Benjamin Sesko, Matteo Retugi, and allegedly Alexander Isak are all said to be players Arteta side are watching. We reportedly, you would have seen in the last few days, had an offer for Igor Jesus turned down by Brazilian giants Botafogo. Whether you believe that or not, let me know. Gyökeres does not plan to leave Sporting in January and has told his management he's targeting a summer move to a bigger club. Sky Germany report he could be available for 50 to 58 million, which could put him on the radar. Santiago Jimenez remains on Benfica's radar. He's been linked with Arsenal, Liverpool, Benfica, and I don't think Arsenal want him, but yeah, and also Nottingham Forest. We've already gone over that, so there's no point. In relation to Cunha, 1 minute we're getting him, then he's signing a new deal, people. According to the Mail, Arsenal are indeed interested in Cunha. Wolves are hoping to tie Cunha down to a new deal, which would ultimately hamper Arsenal's chances of signing Cunha in this window, unless they're willing to pay way over the odds. I mean, we could get Douglas Luiz on loan, even though midfield is not a priority right now, rightly or wrongly. Arsenal aren't planning huge signings this month, but sources close to Cunha are refusing to rule out the idea of making a move to the Emirates. The Mail state that Cunha is likely to be tempted by a move to Arsenal, but a deal does appear to be complicated. That seems to be the theme of everything, people. Apparently, Arsenal spent just shy of 70 million on defender Calafiori and Mikel Moreno in the summer, as well as 27 million to confirm David Raya's move. But they also recouped funds in the sales with the initial sum of 70 million from Smith Rowe and Nketiah and Ramsdale. So there's money to be spent if needed. Boy. Daniel Marlins looks like he's going to Aston Villa. I'm just keeping an eye on him. Jimenez apparently is very open to joining Liverpool if you're a Liverpool fan. And we were linked with Richard Rios, people, once upon a time. It seems like Wolves are stealing the march there, people. Mikel Arteta says he hopes to make more memories in the cup today. Well, it's the icing of the cake. Obviously, we work every single day to achieve that, to enjoy it with our people. And there's not a single moment that that stands out more than actually when you have that cup and when you're offering the cup to your supporters, sharing it with the people you work every day with. They are memories that stick in your mind, and hopefully we can create many more. We should have done what we needed to do in the summer, and maybe we could. But anyways, we know as well the level of the opposition, but as a club, we have to expect to win every year. That's for sure. Okay. They mean so much to all of us. You see how a lot of clubs prepare and decide lineups. A lot of talk around the cups, and how it is right now is very different, because to win any trophy in this environment, especially in this country, is extremely difficult. I'll always go as strong as I can. I hope so, man. I hope so, Mikel, man, because it's looking all mad right now, man. Should we see if there's any other sort of news concerning our football club as we've been live? Come on, man. Tell us Santi Cazorla at the very least is coming out of trade. I don't want to hear about Isaac loan with an option to buy. We've gone over that. What's this? Let's see what that is. In fact, what we should do is last hour. Come on, man. Stop being lazy. Stop linking us with Nico Williams. At least lie to us and throw a next name in there. Okay, Koulibaly. Gone over that. Let's see what Timber said here. Let's see any of this. What happened to that? What's that you at Dortmund people, man? Gittins. They're not linking us to him anymore. Apparently, Timber is convinced trophies will be on the way for Arteta at the club before too long. I hope so, man. Our fullback has said he also very much expressed his confidence in me. That gives me a lot of confidence. I think he has changed a lot for the club and taken the club to a new level. Now we have to wait for the prizes to come, but I certainly believe that with him as a coach, it's just a matter of time. I think he's very good with a lot of players, but he also brought the winning mentality back into the team. You know what helps bringing a winning mentality? Winning trophies. And also how he behaves, what his attitude is towards the team. And if you come to the club with so much passion, love, and intensity, he also shows how it should be done, and we follow him in that. Big him up, follow the gaffer, but trophies. Apparently, Arsenal are considering a move for Lee Kang-in. I thought it said we'll go for another one. I thought it said we were going for we all saw where it said we might potentially go for a second goal at Koulibaly. Thank the Lord, man. What's this? I don't want to hear about Nico. I actually don't want to hear about Nico Williams anymore, people. Again, don't forget later today, folks, we will obviously be doing a watch along for the Newcastle game. And at 3 p.m, man, I've offered my thoughts, people. A bit of an edited piece for me where I offer my thoughts on the transfer window and the current climate, man. So, yeah, don't forget to be there. I would not trust Arteta with any more money less than that 30% success rate with his signings. Well, we're going to have to, innit? Like, because I hear you, but we can't say we need signings in January and then we're not going to trust him. Like, how the signings going to get in? Because Jason Ito isn't going to be the forefront at that. Memories in the cup. Love those cheesy words. There is memories in the cup, but I just want to win, man. Martinelli runs around the pitch like a headless chicken. Yes, DG, my birthday still big 29. Big up yourself, George, man. Wait, you're only a year younger than me. Big up yourself. I'm joining the 3rd floor this year. On behalf of myself and everyone, happy birthday, man. Make sure you enjoy that, and hopefully Arsenal don't spoil your birthday. What do they mean if needed? Inner circle, big up yourself. When you find out, let me know, please. How do we sign players without a sporting director? There had to have been a plan in place. Obviously, Edu leaving has disrupted that. But surely, if we're this club that bangs on about collaboration, surely it's business as usual in that regards. And obviously, Jason Ato picks up the pieces, man. And really and truly, yeah. How much say did Edu really have in the signings? Because it seems like Arteta and them man identify Edu's job is just to get the deals over the line. So if that is the case, not that I'm informed to know that, surely things happen. And they're going to have to make it happen. They're going to have to, man. Honestly, I can't see us signing anyone. Can't see us signing anyone who is cup tied UCL. I'm not sure what that means. If at this point Rashford on loan would be progress, can't get him on loan. Gyökeres probably would be interested in a move to United. Who's even in charge of our transfer window at this point? I wish I knew, man. Damsgaard has 18 months left and isn't signing a new contract. Apparently, these stories tend to follow in that situation. It's true. Damsgaard is a good midfielder and he can be better than Odegaard. I'm on Damsgaard, but understand Arsenal will not sign anyone. Don't let these posts gas you. You know what? I don't think we're signing anyone. So everything's a bonus in that regards, man. You're right. I'm curious how much a Premier League club has to pay for him compared to Isaac. Go and get Jonathan David on loan and trigger Edison's clause that we can compete. You'd have to buy Jonathan David outright. His contract's running down. Bayern has just bid for Gyökeres, and we want. Hey, less of that. Less of that second comment. Don't be silly. Don't. That's not. Come on, man. Come on. That's not what we're doing here. We're not doing that. I think our club becomes obsessed with targets like Isaac and Williams. Sometimes you need someone now. We could have brought Osimhen, got a year out of him, and just moved him on if we wanted someone else. Bellingham's dad was a baller, all-time non-league record goal scorer. It's a fact. So it's in the blood, man. It's in the blood. This signing doesn't win you the league, so it doesn't make sense. Arsenal need to sign someone just to bridge the gap, never mind win the title. He was linked with Crystal Palace at one point. But do you know what time it is with Bellingham? He's going to land somewhere in the Premier League. He's going to play well, whether he's a star or not. The price is going to balloon like you see elsewhere. If anything, in today's day and age, it pays to be proactive. You know, Sociedad bought Isaac when his stocks were low at Dortmund. He went to Newcastle for 70 million. Newcastle bought him for 70. Now they're talking about 150. Kudus was at Ajax. How much is he costing now? Cunha was floating around in Germany and at Atletico Madrid. Look at what he's doing now. You look at Morgan Rodgers, if you want to buy him from Aston Villa, how much is him and John Duran and all of these guys going to cost? Eze hasn't got the move, but how much would that cost? How much would made of Elise? Bowen obviously has become a key player from West Ham since Hull. So you have to find these names, man. That's why I don't necessarily... Obviously, I hear it, but when people sit there and say, oh, who is we signing? There's no quality on the market. It's not our jobs to know that. These men got all the money to buy players. They've got scouting teams. They have access to unique sporting software that we haven't got, people. Like, it's certain... People don't deep. For the extended members of the recruitment team, they have hours to watch many different players and many different leagues and draw up databases and how they tie into a team's ethos. It's no excuse. It's no excuse, especially because I swear they said on the Edu, we're going to a more data approach, analytical approach. So the program didn't flag no players up because Football Manager is bringing up scouting players to sign and that. It's incompetence, man. There's no other way around it. Watching Eze this season, I'm not really seeing why people want him. I would have Eze, but not at them prices that they're talking about. Lee Kang-in, Nico Williams, Omar Marmoush, all going for about £50 million. Arsenal have at least £50 million and need a player on, let's say, under 150k wages. Who you signing? Well, you're not getting Nico Williams on 150k, less than that. Not sure for Lee. I don't think you'd get that. Omar Marmoush, if I'm him and my stock's rising in all these teams, I'm trying to get around that. I'm not sure for wages, man. It's about what you can hustle. Sesko reminds me of Isaac at Sociedad. We will regret not signing him in 2 years. Just buy Mbeumo. He's a clear goal scoring machine. I'd love Mbeumo, but he's a key player. That's a summer thing, in my opinion. I would love Mbeumo, Kudus, Cunha, anyone outside of the traditional top six that we always waffle about. Eze, I like Eze, but you know, I don't think Eze is value for money at 70, 80. I think the only thing Eze is lacking is that greater level of consistency. And I hate to be that guy, but goals and assists as well. Love, brother. We'll do. Keep on doing what you're doing. Appreciate that, George, man. So it all depends. And Mbeumo does deserve a move, but Eze was amazing when he knew it was trending. I'm having Eze. I don't think Arsenal is convinced. I don't. Obviously, for me, Eze can play as a 10. He can play as an 8. He can play off the left. But I think at Arsenal, I don't. Well, maybe now you would, but I don't think you're consistently going to play as an 8. There's obviously other options, rightly or wrongly, on the left. I don't think Arsenal... It's not me. I just think it's value for money. What do you think about Semenyo, DG? I think he's one of the best January options around right now. I like him. I don't see him as a level raiser, but I'd have you for the squad. I think he's a good player. I think Bournemouth play exciting football. But again, it comes down to what he's worth. Bournemouth are... Bournemouth, Fulham and Nottingham Forest, they're 3 of the best performing clubs outside of Liverpool right now. He's a key player to them and Areola. How much are they going to ask for him? Because, again, I like him. But if they're saying 50-odd million, I'll hold my hands up if it looks cheap in years to come, but it don't really make sense. At least Rashford... Why is this not coming up? At least Rashford is not being linked directly to Arsenal now. David Ornstein Bomber. Pardon me. Getting players out of Prem teams is hard in Jan. You have to massively overpay as these clubs do not need money. Arsenal's body language seems that they are not going to buy any player in this window. I'm not sure on the body language. Marmoush gives me Mao and Shamak vibes. Let's hope not if we sign him. Arsenal are and have always been cheap. 3rd biggest club in the country, but move like a mid-table club. Ownership like ambition. Will sign no one, but be linked to everyone. Told they're too expensive. D, I really can't comprehend what a year difference makes. most same players apart from Moreno and Calla, and our game free flowing system plus pressure from last season is gone. It's on Arteta. Arteta and the club have engineered their own issues. There's obviously external factors, but any issue from a tactical point, any stagnation, any inability to cope with injuries, any not having answers for the questions about the left-hand side, because the issues on the left-hand side have been there for time, whether it's in the 8, whether it's who's going to consistently play at left back or who's playing on the left wing. Obviously, the right-hand side, we've all said, if Odegaard, Saka, Ben White get injured, what happens there? So, you know, our source of winning games on the right's gone, question marks on the left, don't really create opportunities on a consistent basis for our striker, but we have limited options there. Midfield still don't have that 8. We engineer our own issues at times, man. I mean, Havertz has already been better than Shamak ever was for this football club. I like Marmoush a lot, man. High key scared for tonight, folks. It is what it is, man. Why do I feel like Sane is 40, but then he's 28? Because he's been around probably since he was like 18 at Schalke and that. Sane is free from Bayern. We should rebuild short term before going long term. I mean, he's not exactly free. You'd have to pay money on him. And even that, at the club, and rightly or wrongly, at the club thinking, should we make an offer when we might be able to get him for 3-6 months down the line or agree a deal now? Maybe Arsenal's recruitment and Arsenal's business need to experience a serious downfall to take this club. The fans are more serious. We've been there before, though, man. We've been there, done it, wore the t-shirt several times. Bro, can you give prediction in the January transfer window? Well, respectfully, my bro, how? I'm a fan like you, look. I just happen to be on you. I don't know. I don't have a clue, bro. I wish I could. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I had the answers. I wish I could tell you something was all right. I wish I had Arteta's number and he assured me to indirectly tell you about transfers. I don't know, man. I think we will sign someone, but whether that player is someone we like, whether they're good enough, I don't know. Maybe it's another Denis Suarez. And I only think that because you have to. There's no, but like, you do not, like, bro, nobody's fit. You have to. But then at the same time, I'm braced for Arsenal to sign no one because there is that reality. And we've been here before. This ain't nothing new. Like, there's a I think every Arsenal fan knows in their heart, wait, there's reality. We don't sign no one. All it takes is a bit more positive news in relation to Saka being ahead of schedule in terms of return, Ethan ahead of return, a couple other players that don't necessarily play in an attacking sense. And then you'll see the articles come out. We signed no one. You might hear we tried to again for Nico Williams, and the fans that fall for this BS, it continues. And we know it's a cycle. We go into markets, not necessarily January, but we go into markets off season. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. We tried FFP, all of these kind of things. Ultimately, we don't get anyone, and it continues like that. Boy, we've had that downfall was eating bare crumbs. Staffy, Delap's a good player. I'll be real, it's looking more and more likely that we'll get a winger in the final week of the window, and that's it. Boy, let's hope so, man. Let's hope so, man. It's looking peak. Also, I swear Fabrizio Romano is a bum. I've refreshed this guy's page and he's got zero news. Thought he was supposed to be mad deep in the game. I think that's harsh. I wouldn't call Romano a bum. He's clicked up, but yeah, I don't know why that is, man. It's the calm before the storm. I'm not saying anything to back him, but it's only the 7th of January. As an Arsenal fan, the 7th of January makes me a bit nervous because in an ideal world, the minute January opened, New Year's Day, we would have announced the player, man. But it is what it is. Marmoush, Kuda / Nico, I'd be happy. Sounds good, man. I don't get how Chelsea can buy so many players and we can't. Two different structures and models, rightly or wrongly. We don't go about things how Chelsea go about things, and we're not going to. But I do think we need to make some signings, man. So we'll have to see, man. Ultimately, we will have to see, man. Paul, I wish I had answers, man. I don't know who we're signing. I wish I could answer these questions. I'm like you lot, man. I don't know what we're doing. I think we need to look to smash Newcastle at the Emirates. Bruno Gomares and Shaw both can't play. Kill the tie before the trip to the St. James's Park. Amen. It all goes back to we should have signed Ivan Toney. Not even on the Ivan Toney thing. I'm not against it, but it's just about signing the striker. On the topic of Arsenal Newcastle, people, don't forget we will be doing a watch along 3 p.m. I've offered my truly how I feel about the transfer window. And yeah, man, make sure you're following me on Playback because, again, we can have a lot of fun with content there, watching footage and all of that kind of stuff that we can't do on YouTube. I'm sure you lot are bored of me waffling. We've finished this live stream just short of an hour. But yeah, 3 bits of content from me. Appreciate you lot's difference of opinions, you lot commenting, you lot listening, all of that kind of good stuff, people. Without you lot, it'd be boring. So yeah, you lot stay safe, stay blessed. Peace.